Heather, I've got a new thing. That thing involves both apples and caramel. I've reenacted the county fair inside my living room, and I have zero regrets.
All you need is a corn dog and a pig. If I see another post about how to perfectly pack your carry-on luggage for summer vacation without sounding too facetious, I'm a jump off this here cliff.
I'm developing an interesting capri yoga pant tan line on the bottom third of my calf. It might be time to not wear yoga pants every day of my life.
I hear you loud and clear, sister. I'm a big fan of the Irish goodbye. But is it still technically an Irish goodbye if you tell people you're about to Irish goodbye?
I think it's just goodbye. Have such a good day. Hello world, welcome back to Have Such a Good Day.
The show that wants you to do just that.
Wow.
Welcome to episode 248. Wow. That's, I think, a very spammy area code. Am I wrong? I feel like I get a lot of spam lately from 248.
248, let's look it up.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
248 area code. I'm on pins and needles. Covers parts of southeastern Michigan, including Oakland County and parts of Wayne County and Livingston County. Cities include Troy, Southfield, Pontiac, Farmington Hills, Royal Oak, and Rochester Hills.
Interesting. It also means, apparently, that you need to find some balance in your life. It's like if you keep seeing, 248, the whole 1111 thing, it's like a number that just keeps popping up. It could mean, I'm air quoting here, that you need to find balance. But don't we always need to find balance? So I think that's kind of some bullshit, if you ask me.
Well, Heather, you know that I take the zodiac signs very seriously.
Very.
And as a
Libra,
I am represented by the scales because Librans seek balance in life. The rest of you, you're just on a seesaw. You're all over the fucking place. But we Librans, we seek balance and justice.
You do.
I don't know if we seek justice.
You definitely do. And don't forget symmetry, Sarah. Don't forget symmetry.
It's true. The way eggs are arranged in a carton. Very important. That's why I can't eat just one egg.
Yes. Y'all, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. That's like eavesdropping on an intimate conversation. I mean, who doesn't like doing that? I mean, I certainly do. There's no format. We don't really need one. We're just kind of talking about what's going on in our lives. Big talk, small talk.
We're format free. Okay. There are no rules here. What do you think? We're a bunch of stoplights? No, we're just barreling through. And we hope that you enjoy it and seek comfort, maybe a chuckle or two, maybe you even learn something.
We really hope you
even
chuckle,
if you point and laugh at us, we've done our job.
Yes. I mean, it could be a chuckle. It could be a chortle. It could be
a chortle. I like that
a giggle,
word.
A titter, a snicker, or a snigger. I don't even know if that's a word, but
it is.
Any type of laughing.
It is a word, and it. I never feel like I can use it.
I don't either. It's just too weird.
It's too close to a different word, and the English language is what it is, but.
You never hear anybody use that word.
No, you don't. It's a real word, but you just so easy to. Maybe
they should delete it out of the dictionary. They do that sometimes, where it's like, this isn't good anymore.
I seem to recall.
It's too old fashioned.
I seem to recall there was somebody had used it in. It was some like a person of note, somebody who would be. Read. I don't know if this was like a tweet or like an article or something. And they got a lot of flack for it. And people were like, it's just not a word you should use. And then a lot of other people were like, we get what you're saying, but it's not at all the same word. It doesn't mean the same thing. It just is spelled similarly.
Yes.
And, it was... I don't know. This was not recently. That's all I remember about it. But I remember being like, I don't know. I don't know where I fall on this. You gotta
we should consult the Urban Dictionary. That's a fun one. I enjoy the Urban Dictionary to this day. I enjoy
it sometimes. Sometimes I read something and I'm like, I didn't need to know that.
Yeah, you're right. They take it a little far.
Sometimes it's a little too, raunchy.
It is a little raunchy.
Where I'm
I
like,
know.
that
It's
is
a little
just
too,
not
like,
a
sexual.
term
Yeah.
I'm going to use now that I know what the
Ever.
rest of you are thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agreed.
Well, anyway, we are on episode 248. Hello to everyone in southeastern Michigan. I wish you all well.
And elsewhere.
Yes.
If you're elsewhere, that's fine too.
Everywhere around the world. Everywhere around the world.
Hello to you,
For
wherever
sure.
you are.
Hello, wherever you are and whenever you are, because we do not record the show live. Maybe we will at some point. We're
That'd be
always
cool.
looking, in fact, Heather and I, we talk about this here and there, but we are committed, although it's summer, so everybody moves a little bit more slowly in the dog days of summer, but committed to trying to figure out what like fun perks for patrons we can offer you that, doesn't end up becoming like too much of an energy drain for us, because obviously, we're committed to the show, but we have busy lives otherwise, and just stuff that you want. So things like, I don't know, watching us do the show live. Sometimes it is really not at all different than listening to the show after the fact, but it's a little bit more intimate.
But there's something to say for live. Yeah, it is.
And
It is.
there's some,
you can't make mistakes.
Yeah, there's a mistake here and there, or like my internet will drop out, and we're always chatting for a few minutes before or after the show. Anyway, if you have ideas for stuff like that, send it our way. And Heather, I don't know why I am just now bringing it up, but just kind of the idea of in our Discord, because our Discorders are the best. I mean,
They're the
everyone's
best.
cool. We're all cool people in the gymnasium right now, but the Discorders are like the cool kids.
Very much so.
Very much so. And we talk about so much fun stuff in Discord. A lot of it has to do with what we talked about on the show, and that will just sort of like keep the conversation going.
Become a conversation.
Yeah,
for sure.
but the more we can incorporate from you guys, we, as interesting as we are, we're just two people.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly. And we don't want to become rote. That's the
Yeah.
last thing we want. So like we can shake it up, if any way you want. Well, not any way. I mean, some things are maybe out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, like try us.
We're
Let's
not
shake
like
things up.
not putting hidden cameras in our bathrooms.
No, definitely not.
But just if there's anything that you go, I would like to hear their take on XYZ, or if we could revisit this conversation, or just I don't know, anything. I think it's fair game. I mean, obviously we're gonna pick and choose, but the more we have, the more it feels like a collaborative effort.
Exactly. Well said. So HyattHaveSuchAGoodDay.com is where you can get us, or you can also use the Patreon like message boards. There's various ways that you can get a hold of us.
Yep. And of course, Discord, for those of you that are in Discord.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Always. So how's your week going?
The week has been going well, Heather. I was telling you before the show that it's overcast in my neck of the woods today, which is it's not foggy. It's like rainy clouds, which is weird, because this is August 1st as of this recording. It's not a month where we get precipitation. And my phone sent me a push notification like rain starting soon. And I was like, what? And I looked outside and I was like, gosh, it does look like rain. And then it didn't rain. It just looks like rain. And then I got the push notification, rain stopping now. I was like, cool. All right. So it didn't rain.
Okay. I just real quick, because I do not want to open up a can of extensive weather yammering here, because this is just what happens on this show lately. But I just want to say a quick thing about these weather apps. I actually deleted my Apple, the default Apple iPhone
Weather app.
because it's so beyond inaccurate. I compare it a lot with weather.com. Let's use that as an example, because I find weather.com, the Weather Channel app, to be more accurate, more to the hour.
A lot of people say
more to
that.
Yeah. And so I've noticed that the Apple app just pisses me off. And when I open it, I get so bummed because I see the forecast for the rest of the week and it's horrible. But then it's completely opposite, where I'm like, you look and see, it's gonna be 60 degrees, totally cloudy, for 5 days straight. And you're like, great, that sucks, And then it's 70 degrees and sunny, like by 11 a.m. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Apple and their weather, meteorology department. But I will say that it's kind of helped me feel less irritated with like forecasts by deleting it. And also, I heard a report on, this is actually the local radio station that merges with NPR in the morning when I listen to the morning radio. Mm-hmm. And there was a report with a local meteorologist who moved from like Sacramento, like he didn't always live up here. And he was saying how super challenging and frustrating it can be to determine the weather in a place like this. And I think that's part of my irritation, is that this place has its own microclimates. It has weird fog. You can't predict. You don't know when the fog is going to lift. You just can't predict it. And he was talking about this exact thing.
And you felt seen.
Okay. I felt seen. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't feel crazy anymore, So that was my quick report. We do not have to, go down a rabbit hole about weather for the next half an hour. We'll switch gears here, but I just wanted to let y'all know what's been going on.
Well, I'm glad that you don't feel so alone. We haven't solved the fog issue, but
nope.
but that there are other people saying this is a little frustrating.
Yeah,
we live in a crazy, wild place.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. Well, this is not boring, so there's that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, my week's been good. Still watching the Olympics. There's some controversies. There's some, big wins for some of my faves. Gymnastics team. By the time you listen to this, team and all-around individual will be done. But I haven't seen the individual yet because I'm watching everything on tape delay, because I want to watch it when I want to watch it at, full attention and not at 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. But so I've been doing that, and just kind of having a good week. Now,
good.
Not that, my weeks are dour and horrible, but I will say, just and keeping it somewhat top level, like I've had a challenging couple months, some health stuff within my family, some personal stuff, weight of the world a little bit, nothing that is going to, tear me down or break me, but just challenging. Yeah. That's what else I'm trying to wrap a nice bow on what was not really a great couple of months, but and not everything is in your mind, right? I mean, having a positive attitude, I really want to punch somebody when they tell me like, oh, you just it's all in your attitude, and I'm like, no, it isn't.
No, it isn't. There's a lot going on in the world.
I mean,
right
you
now.
can
There's
definitely like throw a bad attitude into a bad situation and just be more miserable. I get that. But like, you can't just like Pollyanna your way through life either.
You can't. Definitely not. I've tried. But it's funny. Case in point, actually, I was invited kind of last minute to like this little birthday get together up the road, about 7 minutes up the road. Kind of a new friend, don't know her very well. And it was Wednesday night, which was last night. And I had a really long, hard day, and I just didn't really want to socialize. I was kind of like, it was like stressing me out that I had this looming party. And I'm like, I was planning on going originally, and then I just didn't really want to go toward the end of the day. I just wasn't in the mood. And it was really just like I was flip-flopping. I'm like, I know I'll probably feel better if I just go and I get out of the house, but I just was really just like, I don't want to do this. And my boyfriend actually was like, I think we should just do it. Let's just, we don't have to cook dinner. Let's just go. And I don't know what it was. I just finally made the decision, and felt good about it. I'm like, all right, we're getting in the car. We're doing this, even if we stay for an hour. And picked up some wine, some flowers for the birthday girl. Already felt better. I was already, in the car, leaving the house, going up to this new place I've never been, seeing a few. I didn't know a lot of people there actually, but I'm still kind of new girl in town, but I knew a couple people. And it was one of those things too, where I was like, I didn't want to stay late because it was Wednesday night and I had kind of a big morning this morning. So we were there for a couple hours, had a glass of wine, had a little bit of food, talked to some people. And then I was just like, I was pretty itching to like Irish Goodbye. There was like a side door, and it was kind of an easy out too, because you could easily sneak out of this house. Like, you didn't have to go through like the crowd and like, be really obvious.
Well, I
that
mean,
you're
how many
leaving.
people were there?
At the time, I mean, gosh, I would say like 30.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Irish Goodbye, for anybody who's like, what's that? It's when you just quietly leave without saying goodbye.
Yes. Because then you're either doing, I think there's like some like Midwest goodbye where it's like you're saying, it's like takes forever to get out of a house because you're like, bye, thank you so much, and then like everyone's just like following you out, and then you never leave. It takes a half an hour.
I think the term, it's not always called an Irish goodbye. There's like
French goodbye.
I don't think it's French. I don't know. I've heard it described in other ways, but it's more or less like you're used to being around a bunch of people where like the families are like 9 kids, and so it's like like somebody's birthday is like, it's just like you're never gonna get out of there. I was gonna say, my first reaction was like, oh, you don't Irish goodbye when you like don't know people that well. But if there were like more than 30 people there, not a big deal.
Really small.
It wasn't like it was like 10 people sitting around a dinner table.
No. And there was like, people were in the kitchen, people were in the dining room, people were in the living room, and then they had the back patio. All the kids were playing, so there was a lot going on. But and we all agree that it is fun to say hello, but it's like not that fun to say goodbye. I mean, goodbyes normally can be fraught.
Well, and usually, by the time you're saying goodbye, you've already made the decision to leave. So like your goal is to leave.
Yes.
And then you get people who are sort of like, it was so good to see you. Oh, we didn't get a chance to talk. I wanted to ask you about yoga on Tuesday.
Because that's what happens.
Yeah. And you're sort of like, can you just like text me? Like, I'm leaving. I hate saying goodbye. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, I just don't, it comes with so much, like, I feel like then you got to say bye to all these people, and then we should hang out. Cause that's kind of what started to happen, was like, they could see me sort of inching. And then of course it became a joke because I was kind of talking about it with Elijah, doing this Irish goodbye. And then another friend walked up, and I was like, I'm considering Irish goodbying here. And then Elijah's like, it isn't an Irish goodbye if you're telling people you're going to Irish goodbye. So there's this whole thing. But we had fun. It was good to go. And I'm still a very big fan of the Irish goodbye. In fact, back in the day when I was younger and I'd go to parties with some friends, people would get pissed at me because I would just bail. I would just leave when I was tired.
I've had friends get mad at me for that before. I mean, maybe not mad, but like, Sarah, that was rude. And I'm like, but you were like totally tied up and there were 50 people there.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have to like inch in, and you're like, hi, guys, hi. And you like interrupt, and it's just like, it's a lot. But
I once had a friend who, oh God, I'm pretty confident she would never listen to this, but anyway, I'm not about to say anything mean, but it was her wedding, big wedding, a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I was not a bridesmaid. I wasn't sitting at the same dinner table, as her. I was just a guest. Yeah. And kind of when the dancing started, like, I was there for all the stuff. When the dancing starts, it's like, okay, we're not doing speeches anymore. It's just people getting drunk and dancing. And I left.
Yeah.
She was like on the other side of this ballroom. I was just kind of like, like to go to like it's like someone's wedding. So to go up and be like, hi, I'm about to leave early, felt like making it about me. I'm like, she won't even notice. Well, she did. And she was not thrilled with me. To her, it was like incredibly rude of me not to say goodbye. But I'm like, I mean, it was a wedding where, I mean, not that I was offended, but like, you didn't like, I wasn't going to be near you at any point.
Also, at weddings, they have zillions of people to like talk to. It's like you're almost doing them a favor by like sneaking out. So
everybody's different, honestly.
I know, you're right.
There are a lot that people sometimes get bent out of shape about things, and same with me. Like, I get bent out of shape about stuff that other people think I am just making a mountain out of a molehill about. And,
of course,
that's just, that's humans. What are you going to do?
Exactly. And I mean, speaking of expectations, I was sort of thinking, because, summer's inching, you hear people talk like, oh, I got to go back and, teach at school is in like a few weeks. And just, I can't believe the summer's almost over. That's kind of like the vibe right now.
Well, if you're a teacher, I guess the rest of us just keep
and
working.
then like, people with kids and
that's
that
true.
kind of thing.
Right.
There's just sort of a deadline to like the summer, even though the summer will go into September. But I guess technically maybe it ends at the end of August. But it's just that the expectations that come with, what are you doing for the summer? What are your big summer plans? And like, I didn't really make any big summer plans. I like did that LA trip, but I didn't plan anything big. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you do? And it's sort of this funny thing where isn't it okay to just want to putter around the house in the summer and just kind of have,
of
like maybe
course,
go to some parties and some barbecues and barbecue yourself. And I just was sort of curious with y'all out there, how you feel about summer. Cause I know like some people are like summer haters. They don't like the heat. They don't want to be social. They don't want the pressure of traveling and dealing with parties and saying no to, a party they don't want to go to or whatever. And
or like buying a new swimsuit or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, you're either, some people are very into it and I understand that it can be really fun and exciting and party with your friends, but I can see why there can be a lot of pressure to have something exciting planned and be able to talk about it with people. I don't know. I'm just curious if y'all out there, are you a summer hater? Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Well, I didn't plan anything this summer. I mean, August just started, so I've got some time off actually this month. I mean, not like a month, but DTNS, which is one of the podcasts that I do, which is a daily show, so it's the bulk of my workload. We take a week off. We've done this for years. It's not next week, but the week after, the third week of August. Wait, is that right? Or is it well, yeah. I mean, there's only 4 weeks in a month. I'm looking at my calendar right now. I just want to know for sure. What is it? I don't know. I'm looking at some weird calendar that doesn't have my work schedule on it. Well, that's not helpful. All right. But anyway, this month we have some time off. And so it's like, I still have, we've got this show and I have a couple other things where it's like, I mean, I couldn't just like flee the country without doing some planning beforehand. But it's like, I technically could, but it's right around the corner. And like, I don't have like pet services lined up. This could all be done. Trust me. I mean, I know that you can be like, I'm going to Paris tomorrow, and you can make it work. I could do that once we get off the show, and I could be at the airport tonight. I could.
But you're now a dog owner, and I think that's what's changed for you. And you did used to travel a lot, but now you have a dog, and
it's not really that. I mean, my dog can be, even if friends or my mom, who used to babysit him all the time when I was closer to her, it can be done, but it's more time and money, really. Yeah. I mean, right now, full disclosure, my finances are pretty tight. I'm counting my pennies, and I can save up for a vacation. I also.
Planning's a huge effort too. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, I can. Time. I feel like I can be pretty spontaneous. I guess I just don't. I don't know. If I was like, listen, I need a vacation, which I do. I actually, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, I really need a vacation. But it's just I'm not quite there yet. I also still feel like I'm new back to LA. Which I'm not. I mean, gosh, I've been here for 8 months now, back here for 8 months. And even though I'm not exploring as much as I would have hoped at this point in the year, I just still feel like, I have like a huge city playground. There's so many things to do here that it's like, I don't feel like I got to get out of this town, Yeah. That's not how I feel, which is great. You know, if LA has anything going for it, it's that there are a million things to do and a lot of variety. So
Oh, absolutely.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But
that's why I go down there all the time.
Yeah,
I
totally.
mean, not all the time, but
yeah, I mean,
I'm
and
kinda
you're
overdue to get
you're
down
more really, you know, of an LA social butterfly than I am.
Yeah.
because I'm just a little bit more of a creature of habit. But yeah, we've always had fun here. So
it's a vast city full of wonderful things.
It is. It is.
But you know, you got to get in, there's, you know, getting from point A to point B is not the easiest in that town. And I, you know, sometimes
depends on your A and your B. Depends on your A and your B.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
I've again, you know, I work from home. It could be so much worse. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of
Totally.
things that I have a lot of gratefulness about. So there is that. But when you were talking about going to your new friend's birthday party and you said that Elijah was like, just do it. You know, just let's get our shoes on. We're going. I was reminded of just do it, you know, the Nike slogan, which, I mean, how long has that been Nike slogan? Like
forever.
I don't know when it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
when I was born, but it's just, you know, it's so good that like, why would they even, you know,
Let's ask the internet.
let's ask the
Looks
internet.
like,
I know. If only there was a
77.
way to know the answer to this, but,
Originated in 88.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 88.
okay.
Okay,
All
that
right.
makes sense
88.
because that's like very much our era, you know.
Yeah. You know, good slogan. Keep it. But
I
anyway,
know.
I have been kind of going hard into trying to live more healthy. You know, I've had this sort of, you know, a variety of not like debilitating health issues, but like I'm overheating at night and it started to get worse. And I was just like, you know, I'd wake up and just be really cranky because I hadn't slept, you know, for more than a couple hours at a time without having to like get up and, you know, and I'm writhing around and I need a fan and, you know, it's just, and it wasn't even like that hot in the bedroom. Anyway, all sorts of reasons that I was just like, you know what? I gotta just like, let's cut out the refined sugar that I am taking in. You know, always a good idea to just like isolate that stuff and just try to minimize it. You know, I know this. I'm not
Yeah.
like shoveling sugar into my body every day, but there are certain things that I can cut out where I'm like, it's just better that I do, you know?
Yeah.
You know, have a cheat day once in a while, no biggie, but let's get a little bit more serious about going to the gym. And like, instead of being like, oh, I'll go to the gym like a couple times a week when I like have time, it's like, no, you go to the gym every day. Now, of course, 7 days a week is not sustainable for almost everybody. There's always going to be a day where you're just like, I just can't make it work. I'm too busy, or like my foot hurts or whatever. It's like, but I feel like to like say like, okay, today is my excuse day instead of today is the day I'm going to go to the gym is like this slight little, going back to that positive attitude again. It's like just a little, like you approach it mentally just a little bit differently. And so it's like you go to the gym, you go every day. If you have a great excuse not to go, then don't beat yourself up over it. So, and once I get into that groove, I am like a pretty happy little gym rat. I like going. I also, my gym is right down the street. So I jog there. I'm on the, you know, Stairmaster in like 10 minutes from, you know, my house. It's easy. I've never liked driving to the gym. For some reason that just bothers me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I know
it sort of
I know some
defeats the
people,
purpose
you know,
or
you don't
something.
have a choice because it's not walkable, but I am lucky to be walkable to a few gyms actually, but I just go to the one. Anyway, so I'm doing that. And one of the things I do at the gym is, you know, I like Stairmaster, you know, variety of weights. I'm not really much of a, you know, pump and iron kind of person, but you know, I like the Nautilus machines and, you know, treadmill. If I'm kind of just wanting to zone out, running is the best way to do that because when I run outside in an urban area, like you can't zone out. There's stoplights and people with dogs and you know, you're crossing the street and there's a bus. You know, I can't zone. On a treadmill, I can like, it's almost like I have my eyes closed. You know, like you just go to another place.
Yeah, I prefer that too.
Totally. It's great. And even though I like running outside, but it's like I need it to be like in the wilderness or else I'm too distracted. So
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm on the treadmill the other day and you know, I'm cranking along and I have to stop after about 15 minutes. My ankles are hurting. And I know why. It's because I'm running on these old shoes. And the old shoes are like, they're running shoes, but they're like hiking running. You know, they're like for like trail running. So they're great for that. And not like horrible on asphalt, but they're not really supposed to be like treadmill shoes. And they're also old. And so I was like, oh, this is no good. Anyway, long story short, got some new Nike running shoes because I just did it. This was, I ordered them last week. I mean, the whole thing was, you know, something that I had identified, you know, recently. Shoes came yesterday. And
I love a new pair of running shoes because it's like they really are so bouncy.
They're so bouncy.
Yeah,
and they're
so
you know,
good.
of course, it's like running shoes. Once you wear them a few times, I mean, sure, you want running shoes that like look good. I mean, if running shoes were like super hideous, I'd be like, I don't want to wear them. But I kind of don't care. What I really want is the running shoe that is the most comfortable because you're running.
Yeah, totally.
You know, for like a sustained amount of time. And, you know, it's like comfort first. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just happen to have really good luck with Nike shoes. Some other shoes, the sizing is weird. I mean, if I went into a Foot Locker or something, I could try things on physically, but, you know.
But who does that?
Yeah, I haven't done that in a really long time.
Not up here. We don't even have a Foot Locker.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one around me somewhere. I can't think of where, but anyway, I know my Nike set. Nike is pretty true to size for me. Where like Adidas, I'm always like, these shoes are too. You know, I got it wrong. You know, why didn't they tell me they run big or whatever?
I'm kind of same on Nike. It's like pretty solid.
Pretty
I mean,
solid.
I do have some Adidas, but yeah, I think the sizing is definitely like true to size. for
Yeah.
me.
So I got some new runners, and I haven't been to the gym yet because I only wore them this morning for the first time walking the dog. So I wasn't even jogging, but they're bouncy, kind of tight, but like not too tight, and they're gonna give.
Yeah.
You know, they feel really good, and I was like, I mean, talk about retail therapy. This is like one of those things, and they're not, you know, they're not like $1 million, but they're over $100. That's just,
I feel like they are.
you
That's just
can
what
get
it
lucky
is.
with a sale, but it's like I wanted this certain kind, you know, style, and they're just, you know, they're nice shoes. So not that I like to part with money, but it's like this is not a frivolous purchase. You know what I mean? This is like a purchase that will keep me motivated to do things that are like really good for my body and mind. So
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
say you buy those running shoes, internet. You buy those shoes.
Just do it, Sarah.
Yep.
I'm
gonna do it. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you are you got a new motivation, and honestly, like a new pair of shoes is such a motivator for sure. I haven't gotten a new pair of running shoes for a while. I wonder if mine are getting. I don't really run though. I do more hiking. But they're not that bouncy anymore. I mean, they're pretty old, but they still work. It's fine. One of these days, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I'm just like trying to keep up with everything this week, and we have this, I have a worker that's been on the property for a lot of the week. He's pretty awesome. He's a guy who, you know, we had hired years ago, and then like, you know, they get busy on these projects, and he just, you know, some of these people can do a little bit of everything. Like you just give him a list of like a bunch of just random things around the property, and they're just really handy. I mean, they're essentially handymen.
I wish I
great.
had your handy person around here because I've got all sorts of little things, and my landlord doesn't seem to know what to do about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised your landlord doesn't have like a go-to, but I do like having one of these guys that's, you know, not too far away, because like we're very far, and it's a very small town, under 300 people. Still can't believe I live here.
Under 300 people, huh? I never thought to ask. I know it's small.
So small, so small. I don't know. I mean, we won't go down that road, but he's very handy. He has all the tools, you know. I mean, there's some tools he doesn't have, like, you know, we had to go pick up our chainsaw from our old worker who doesn't really work for us anymore, and you know, we've got a lot of tools ourselves. We have a barn with, you know, lawnmowers and weed whackers and all the things, and He has been here for the last couple days, so I've kind of been walking around with him, like showing him like little areas to like fix, like stuff that's been overgrown. Or yeah, like, because we've got these Airbnbs, so you got to make sure like the path to get there is not, you want to make it kind of nice. You're running a business here. So and I have a regular gardener. She lives on the property, but she cannot do it all. It's over 9 acres. And so I brought this guy on. He's been awesome. He's been doing the craziest stuff. He today, in fact, I will send the Discorders the video because it's a wild thing that we did. We were trying to figure out how to cut a tree that is growing on the cliff. Like, it's a big tree. Like, it's like a cedar, and it's like big, and it's basically coming up over the cliff, like, 8 feet. And so it's kind of blocks the view. I mean, it's not that bad yet, but it is getting there. And it's really hard to get because it's beyond the cliff. So you have to be strategic. You kind of can't lean over and like saw it. Like you kind of have to figure out like what is your strategy, because you can't go down the cliff. And so today I was like, why don't we'll take a piece of wood, and we'll, this flat piece of wood we have, and we laid it over the, like, there's a lot of weeds and green waste, we call it, that we push over the edge. And so it creates this sort of almost like a bedding. It's like soft, but it like holds the cliff up. And so so we laid this piece of wood down, and he's like leaning on this wood, leaning out over the cliff, like trying to electric saw this tree. It was wild. I mean, the things that these guys do is I'm just throwing out some appreciation out there for y'all who are handymen, contractors who do a lot of crazy jobs, and you are brave and you lean out on the cliff to cut trees. So
Yeah, I know, right?
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. My cat is getting hungry, and you could probably hear him on my microphone. Hold on, Charlie. We're getting close here. And lastly, I wanted to mention that yeah, okay, so property stuff, lots going on, lots of crazy stuff that we're working on. But yesterday, so this guy, same guy, he's digging deep into some of these areas that are really overgrown. And we're talking weed whacking. You got to get up in there, and it's like you cannot just weed it by hand. So he's weeding this area that hasn't been weeded for a while with the weed whacker, and he hit a wasp. He hit a wasp nest.
Wow.
And it was kind of wild. He got stung about 18 times, and it was a little scary. But we're all okay. We're all okay. It's just this, like, living amongst the trees. I'm telling you, it's complicated life.
I mean, if you get stung, I know you, not literally a million, but like more than a couple wasp stings seems pretty dramatic.
It's a lot. This guy's tough, though. This is what I'm saying. These guys are like, they can handle anything. He took it with stride. Seriously. I was like, dude, I'm like, I told him yesterday, I was like, better you than me. Seriously, because I would have freaked out.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, hats off to people who brave the elements, and good to have a handy person around. We had so I mentioned that there's a couple things around my house that need to be fixed. The fridge meltdown was real, and that was unfun. That was an unfun part of the last couple months. Although it's all in the past now, but just little things, nothing like super pressing, but just stuff that needs to be addressed. Like the crack in my what is the word? I had the problem with this the other day. I cannot remember the word for when you window screen. God, senior moment. The screen in my bedroom that has a crack in it, so mosquitoes have gotten in. This has only happened twice, but both times it's like in the middle of the night, and it's just, it's just an absolute sleep ruiner. So, I need that done, and just the toilet. The plunger will like stick, and so it'll run. Just stupid stuff. But we had the landlord, who's he's being as helpful as possible. He's not the person to fix this stuff. He just isn't that kind of a person. So he found somebody on Nextdoor, I believe, and just kind of somebody who can just be handy around the house. Guy comes over. They both come over. And so I'm pointing out stuff, and the guy is just kind of like, Yeah. And just sort of like not really being communicative, and my landlord, I can tell, because the guy was also late. Like we were all sort of meeting, at my house, and I'm kind of saying to the landlord, who's like sitting outside in his car, because he wasn't just gonna like come up and hang out with me. I was like working and doing this. At some point I texted him and I'm like, we've been waiting an hour. Like, I got stuff to do. It was a Friday, and I'm like, I want to do my grocery shopping. I want to go to the gym, get those runs in. And so anyway, finally he comes, and he was just like, you could tell that he probably can fix a lot of things, but he was just like not selling it.
Yeah.
And at one
that
point,
happens.
I've got a screen in the above the kitchen window. It's like a roll-up screen. So when it's down all the way, it's not like a blackout screen, but it blocks a lot of the, like UV light.
Yeah.
And I don't know who lived here before me, but like there's like paint splatter on it, and there's a hole in it because it's like kind of a thin mesh material. And I'm like, this should just have been replaced before I moved in. Again, it's not killing me. I don't even have that screen down half the time, but I'm like, let's just replace the screen. The landlord agrees. He's like, yeah, it looks like shit. Sorry, I didn't do that. And the guy kind of looks at it, and we were like, so can you fix this? And he was, like replace it with another one. Really, it's unscrewing some hardware and just getting another one. And he was like, no. And we're like, why? And he was like, yeah, like Home Depot doesn't have that. And I was like, oh, I've seen them at Lowe's. And he was like, oh. And I was like, okay, this is not our guy.
Definitely not.
This is just somebody who's just like, come on, man. Like,
that happens a lot to us too.
Let's look alive here.
Yeah, it's you got to hold on tight when you find a good person. And also like a good person who is a kind and hard worker. And I feel really lucky. I've got a handful of people and I hold them tight and I'm good to them. And I, try to make them happy workers, Yep.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So actually, we did get a note from our buddy Kevin about weather. So we're bringing it back full circle here at the end of this here episode.
We say we won't talk about the weather. The weather chooses us. It's like a dragon. It'll choose its rider. So yeah.
So he wrote in and he said, "I'm a cold weather person, having lived in SC. WACT,
Wait, South Carolina,
Iceland,
Washington, Connecticut,
New Jersey, Iceland, and then Mississippi, San Diego, South Korea, and now Maryland, MD. It's amazing how the relative humidity can change the comfort level. MS was always too hot for me. I could deal with the other locations in the summer for the shorter durations." I wrote him back, actually. Kevin, thank you for writing in about this. I can't believe how many places you've lived. I
love how it's like Connecticut, New Jersey, Iceland.
Yeah, no, in
San
South
Diego,
Korea, Mississippi. He's wild. He's been all over.
You've been all over, Kevin. Yeah, you don't have to tell us your whole life story, but yeah, like we
really want to know.
We want to know, and also, considering that, Mississippi, I've never been to Mississippi. Of the, that sort of, the southern easternmost part of our land. I've been to Florida quite a few times, but never Mississippi. I'm going to guess that it's pretty hot and sticky in the summer.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but then maybe some other places. Well, I don't know.
Interesting. South Korea. I'd be so curious. Obviously, you do not have to tell us your life story, but sort of curious. It's such an awesome kind of moving resume. Like, wow, you've seen the world.
South Korea is like, you could be in Seoul or another like huge metropolis or like total country life.
Yeah, totally.
It's all over the place.
The world is vast, and
indeed it is.
I always thought I'd live in another country again. Like I did live in France, but I always thought I'd live in Japan for a while or something. It's not like I can't. My life is not over, but it gets a little harder as you get older. The inertia and the motivation and the I like inertia. That seems to work for this this sort of situation.
You mentioned having a dog and how that might put a damper on spontaneous travel, which is, I mean, there is some truth to that for sure. It's not like I'm like, no big deal. I mean, it requires another layer of planning, but like a vacation, not a huge deal. As long as as long as the dog's with someone you trust, you're fine. But like the idea of living in another country, which I have always thought I would do as well, particularly France. I haven't closed the door on that, but as life goes on, I feel more and more like, man, I'd really have to have a good situation, and a really good reason, but also the dog. Now, the dog part is specifically interesting because even though the idea of like putting a cat under my feet on a transatlantic flight is like, sounds like hell and a half, at least I would have control over the situation. I'm not putting my dog in cargo. I'm not putting my dog in cargo ever, because that's how dogs die. Sadly, it's not uncommon, and it's like the most tragic thing ever. So that's not happening. And it's like, I am not of means to like private plane myself with my dog, to another country. I mean, if we're talking Mexico, Canada, sure, I would drive, but anything else. And it's like, I can't put my dog on a plane. I mean, I guess I can buy him a first class seat and, figure out some emotional support dog way to do that with the right airline. I know it can be done. But it's like, I honestly, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I should move to Paris and I'll just work nights. I don't even have to quit my job. I'll just have a different schedule based on time zones. And then I go, but I can't take Otis. Too hard. And then I just go like, I'll stay in LA.
Totally. Yeah, that's probably the best bet. Also, you have to have like work visas in certain countries, and it's like hard to stay long term in certain places, especially France. France is, I think, pretty strict, or at least it was back then for me.
Just a reminder, if you're not a patron and you're listening to the show and you've heard some ads before we got rolling here, and maybe hear a post-roll ad after we wrap here, and that's cool with you, okay, great. We just love to have you along for the ride. If you say, this would just be so much better without the ads, become a patron. All you got to do is part with $1 per month and no ads. It is super easy. We're trying to get more patrons. We want more of you. We're not going to mince words. We want you. Think of me as Uncle Sam pointing at you right now. We want you.
Just do it, and we
become
want you.
A patron. Yeah, and just do it.
But anyway, we could talk forever. We could talk for days, but we won't do that to you. We've really enjoyed this ride today, and it's a wild ride.
You sound so earnest. We've really enjoyed
I am
this
earnest,
wild ride
Sarah,
today.
and there's an importance
earnest.
about being earnest. I believe there was a book written about it. There was a book.
Yes.
And I actually really like earnestness. I think it's a really wonderful trait. It's kind of endearing. If earnestness can be endearing. But yeah, so on that note, I will take my earnestness and my endearingness, and I'll hold on to it until next week, until we meet again. And hope y'all stay cool out there, and hit us up at hi@havesuchagooddday.com.
Stay cool, stay warm. Do what you got to do. If you like a weighted blanket, sleep with it tonight. Go crazy, but don't overheat, because that's no fun
I have a
for
wonderful
anyone.
heated blanket from you, Sarah.
Yes.
I love that thing.
Well, weighted, it doesn't heat, right?
It's weighted. No, it's not heat. In fact, I think it would be totally fine to use it like in the summer. It's not like hot.
It's
'cause
just,
it has like those holes.
Yeah, it's just
kind of the perfect blanket.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you've gotten mileage out of it.
I love that thing.
Until next time, I will remain Sarah.
And I will be Heather forever. Have such a good day.
Have such a good day.